Hello, it is Chris and Joy again. Hope things are well with you. We are thawing out pretty well. The temps have been up and most of the snow is gone. Lots happened since the last time we put up a video. And not wearing a Patriots hat today, not because I'm not proud of them, I am. Just it's not as cold anymore. So I wear my hats and Red Sox gear pretty much all year round. Was I wearing my Patriot stuff when you met me?
When I met you,
In the 90s?
you were wearing a Red Lobster uniform when I met you.
yeah. College we worked at a restaurant. So anyway, I've always worn my gear, win or lose. So always proud of my team. Props to the Seahawks. They had a great team for defense. I still think we would have been in it if what they did in the fourth quarter. Uh, they could have done that earlier in the game, but wasn't happening. So there's the dog. She's sniffing around. So today we're talking about trying to be a parent to your kid when they're an adult and they're sick. So one of our kids has,
And they're 2,000 miles away.
yeah, they're on the other side of the continent, and it's tough when they're grown and you can't help them. Um, so that's been one of the things we've been dealing with empty nests is letting them figure things out, trying to stay out of things, but on the other hand, you don't want them to make a mistake where they pay a lot of money, or they mess something up, and
Or they don't get the care they need.
yeah. So it's something we try to keep at hand's length, but at least give advice. Um, he'll be okay. We think he's probably got strep or something, just a sore throat. But it's one of those things you got to take care of, and trying to get your kids to decide things or do things that they need to do has been a challenge for us as adults to kind of help them manage that. So um, do, and so we've been. I don't know. It's you try to you try to not help them, but it's so hard to stay out of it. And half the time I find myself apologizing because I would do it this way, or maybe you should look at this. And I don't know if adult kids want to hear that.
I just feel like we had those conversations more naturally with our parents at that age.
Yeah.
You were far away from your dad, but you were in pretty regular contact with him. And like we talked the other day, that was before cell phones, back when you had to pay for long distance. But you guys would talk at length about things that were going on in your life. And then my parents were close by. So it was just a quick phone call of, what do I do about this faucet that's dripping? Do I need to sign up for my company's insurance plan? Where's the best place to get homeowners insurance? And we would have, daily life, health, financial conversations with our parents and get their advice because they'd lived through it. And number one, everything has changed. Everything's digitized. Everything's through an app. So I think that does put a different perspective on it. When I'm asking my kids, have they received their insurance cards in the mail? They look at me like I'm crazy because they don't get cards in the mail. They get an app.
Yeah.
It seems like they have the things that we thought were very important that we needed to keep on lock, they're a little more loosey-goosey about.
Yeah, and another part of it is we didn't have the technology to do the things that they have now. I still remember my first year in college, sitting out in an open area of the campus on a blanket, and me and my roommate just chilling out doing our taxes. It was a nice day, and it's like you get the forms, you just filled them out. Of course, back then you're not making anything, so it's pretty simple compared with what they need if you're full-time job and deductions and all that. But we just figured it out, and I think to the extent the way things are now, I think our kids do a good job with figuring things out, but a lot of it is kind of trial and error. But they have so much more information available at their fingertips that they can just look stuff up. And I think a lot of times they just rely too much on that than asking instead of having to search for things. I will say our son has adopted AI more than our daughter, as far as I know. Just some of the things that he's used it for to kind of help with doing different things. I don't think he uses it too much, but he's expressed it
Things
a couple
like
of times.
budgeting and
Yeah,
resumes and job searches. Like
yeah.
those are some of the types of things that he's using AI for.
And I still struggle with even trying it. Obviously, AI is built into web browsers. When you do a search, so it's going to give you at the top, it's going to give you some type of AI answer. But I don't know, I can't bring myself to start using Chat GPT or Claude or some of these others. I don't know why. I guess it's just, I don't know why. But I'm I'm just kind of stumped at times when I see things like there's like a Just Ask Dad site where I guess you can get help from adults to help you do things, and kind of surprises me. And I get
When you could
sometimes,
really just ask your dad.
yeah, exactly. And I get sometimes maybe someone doesn't have a good relationship with their parent, maybe they no longer have a parent, so it's easy to ask a complete stranger or look it up on YouTube. But it's tough being distant where you want to help your kid who's not feeling good or going through something, and try not to be a bother, but at least let them know that you're there for them, and maybe send them a text that's encouraging, or hey, here's what you might want to look at. My big thing, and I've run into this, is you have a doctor's appointment. It's at 2 o'clock. You get there at 2, and they're like, oh, you have all this paperwork to fill out. Like, I didn't even think about that. So you send him a text, hey, make sure you get there a little early because you probably have to fill something out. But he did admit like he's not sure how the insurance works or anything like that. You just go into like a minute clinic. But it's something you want to help, and you're kind of helpless. And as an adult with grown kids, I never thought I would feel like that, because that's not how we were. I think Gen X. I think, like you said, it was a lot more readily a conversation. Just an organic conversation.
Yep.
You just ask a parent, hey, how do you do this? Oh, good. Cars coming each way here. But you adults that are our age, what have you dealt with? Have you had the same types of problems? Or are there times where you're trying to help your kid and they don't want to hear it? They just kind of turn you off. I think for the most part, your kids have been really good with most things. I think a lot of times they are begrudgingly appreciative after the fact, but I kind of get it. As an adult, you want to be self-sufficient, But sometimes it's good to bounce ideas off a parent. So, and then there's other decisions like where to live, and there. I know my son's been trying to think should he stay where he's at or move somewhere else, and there's pros and cons to each, and it's kind of tough because again, how much input do you want to give as a parent that is unrequested? They're you know just things to look out for, and you don't know the area anyway, so I can't even give him any advice on what he should be looking for, where he's looking. So another thing that I thought about, there's a good article about the stuff we keep with old technology. We had talked about this the other day. There's something I'll link in the comments where a guy named John Kass talked about this. He talked about all the different technology as it comes up. I still have my Atari 800 XL computer. So it's not the Atari game system. This is a computer that Atari came out with back in the 80s, and had built-in BASIC. That was a big deal. Then I also had a floppy drive with it. My buddy's computer, he had just the 800. He didn't have the XL, and he had a tape drive. And pretty much all you Gen Xers will know what I'm talking about. A lot of you probably had the Commodores, was it the VIC 20 or the 64? There's a couple. I mean, we were playing Zork and all these weird little games, but I still have them. I haven't even tried to boot it up in a long time. I'm not even sure it would work. But I hang on to it because that was my first computer, and it's kind of a nostalgia about it. But over the years, as technology grows, if you remember the old SanDisk MP3 players, you could fit maybe, I don't know, 60 or 80 songs on it, depending on how big the file was. So had those, had the original iPods that didn't hold a lot, and then they came out with I can't remember what it's called. It had a screen on it. I never had one of those, but when they came out with the iPod Touch, that was a big deal, and had to have one. And then of course the iPhones and all the, well, even before the iPhones, just the flip phones. So everyone had these flip phones. I remember the Motorola Razr had one of those at the company I worked for. That was a great phone, but when you could start getting the Blackberries and all that, I guess just to say all this, the article talks about all these old pieces of technology just shoved in drawers that may or may not even work, and I don't know why we hang on to them, but we just do. And we are turning. Um, so yeah, we unfortunately have a lot of those. I think part of it is just the fact that you just never dump them out. And like I said, read the article. I think a lot of it just has to do with nostalgia. Um, that is a big part of who I am. I'm very nostalgic for past times that we'll never get back again. And oop, didn't like that. Hold on a sec. Here we go. run out of juice. The low battery came on, so
It might
my
be
own
your
fault.
cue.
It might be my cue. But I'll link up the article, take a look through it. What old things have you hung on to, and what do they mean to you? I think that's the whole point of the article. We have so many things that, for whatever reason, we keep that, for whatever reason, we will never need. So let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe because we're trying to build our channel here. We'd love to have you keep watching with us. And thanks again. I hope you have a great day.